Ladies and gentlemen, I am Richard. This is my channel, and I'm going to talk about more news about death. And because I have alcohol sitting around, and because I limit my consumption of soda, this is the only time I get to drink these sodas here. Otherwise, they would make me way too fat. I'm losing weight. But this is a can of genuine 2024 Mountain Dew Voodoo. You know, sooner or later I have to drink all of this stuff. But I ration it out because I have a love for soda. But I'm recovering from diabetes. So I've drastically dropped my soda consumption, but I have many drinks that sit around my house because I'm a food blogger, and that's why I buy these things. So now I get to find out whether Mountain Dew Voodoo 2024 is good with dark rum, and I get to talk about an experience. So for every 1,000 subscribers I get, I also purchase one of these bracelets. That is from the company 4Ocean. 4Ocean then pulls a pound of trash out of the ocean every time I do that. If you'd be so kind as to comment, like, and subscribe, you'd be helping me clean this world. And it's a dirty world out there. It needs the cleaning. Anyway. So, I used to work at a place that made parts for aircraft. That's pretty good, actually. I was underpaid, of course, right before I graduated from college. And this place, it should have had a lot of guards. It only had one guard 24/7 and then an extra guard for a few hours in the morning to welcome staff on the way in. Being a guard there, well, it was a big factory, and during the day it must have been nice. There was a restaurant and people and things, but at night it stunk. And, you know, a lot of beautiful women worked there, but the evening guard, the assistant supervisor, was a stinking blob of pestilence that you wouldn't want to use the chair after him because literally he stunk that bad. He actually had been written up for coming to work without bathing. And while I worked there, we discovered that the reason he was this pestilent blob was a health issue. His kidneys had stopped working, and they gave him medication, and he urinated out 70 pounds in 1 week and was still disgusting and smelled bad, but didn't smell as bad or was disgusting. But he had tried to get me fired a couple of times. Why? No one ever told me. The supervisor he was retiring, and he said, that guy, he wanted me to fire you. It was a very strange man. He wanted us to write 3 incident reports per shift. And the thing is, well, what's an incident report? Well, at that place, if there's a light out, it's an incident report, okay? But you're not going to find a light out every shift, particularly on my shift, which was empty. Most of the time I was there were maybe 2 or 3 workers at most. The rest of the time there was nobody there. I worked the night shift. So, this guy was nuts, but he had worked at a higher end security facility, hopefully for more money, and he had a mentality that we should take that same work ethic here. Well, when the supervisor above him retired, he got the supervisor position. And he had wanted it for so long. He had been passed over for it a few times, or at least once. And, he was the senior guard on post. So when they came out there and promoted him, all the existing guards got fired. They were going to keep one of us as the assistant supervisor, but in order for us to be the assistant supervisor, we had to keep the same pay rate and change our hours. And neither of us wanted the hours changed, so we weren't interested. It's just... And they eventually pulled us because they wanted to replace us with guards who made less. That was during the great economic crisis, shortly after '08. And, it's like this guard, he should have been removed from that facility because of his relationship with one of the workers there. I don't think it was a romantic relationship. I think he was just like roommates or something. But, as guards, we're not supposed to have a friendly relationship with the people that work there. We're supposed to keep a certain distance so that they can't manipulate us. It's like if you're sleeping with one of the people that works there, now they have power over you. They can call sexual harassment. So you got to give them what they want. That's just one of those things. Also, as a security officer, you have the ability to make trouble for them. So you might, like let's just say you find an old needle and then, they're coming in. You say, oh, they dropped it. It's like, what the heck, So a certain level of distance would be appropriate. But this guy, he was a jerk. He was a jerk. Everybody hated him. He was the kind of person that didn't want you to adjust his chair. It's like, it's not your chair. It's the desk chair. We all have to sit in it. And now he's dead. I found out not only did he die, but at some point he had been demoted. He had been sent back to the second shift. And he apparently had fallen over at a pizzeria. This was years ago, I just found out that he died, but he died some years ago. And, he fell over. And then the facility I was working at has now eliminated security entirely. This is a relatively new change, I believe in the last 6 months, or maybe less. But despite the fact that it being a government interest and it having something to do with, the Air Force and NASA and things, they no longer have security there. They have technology that acts as security. But how should I feel about his death? I didn't like the man. He caused me, or at least tried to cause me, a reasonable amount of pain. I don't know if he actually caused me a reasonable amount of pain. It's entirely possible that had he been replaced by another supervisor, the same thing could have happened to me. I don't know. I liked working there. The paycheck wasn't all that great, but the people were nice, and it was full of beautiful women. I still have friends who work there, and that's how I found out. Not that they watch these videos. But the baby boomer generation is dying. So there's going to be a lot of death. It's common for people to die because there were a lot of older people. After the Second World War, there was a number of people who were born, the baby boom, and now those people are starting to die off. Now that they're dying off, we should notice a lot of people dying. It's one of those things about the world we live in. It's like celebrity deaths seem to be more common now. Yeah, because all the things that were in existence Hollywood is still relatively new. Yeah, okay, we have the motion picture is more than 100 years old. But, it's like there was the first motion picture, the first true feature length motion picture was like the only one that year, you know. And there were other longer presentations, but this was the first narratively complete thing they said. It was based on a book, so I call BS. But, and then it's like the next year there were more, and the next year there were more. And the concept of the motion picture pretty much exploded with VHS. So suddenly there could be more and more stars because people could bring movies home. People could see them at home at their leisure. There was a new methodology for watching film, and of course there was more funding for film because of merchandising. Now we live in a world where those films aren't carrying their merchandising the way they used to, and toys are filling up the shelves, just garbage. I don't know. When I was a kid, I collected some Star Wars merch, not a lot of it. But nowadays, it doesn't matter what you're into, there's some merch for it. And physical merchandise, well, it's just not worth collecting as much as it was. You should only collect things that you like collecting. If you're collecting them because you think they're going to be valuable, well, you're going to be disappointed. Value has been lost in mass production. So now I know that a person who I didn't care for died. And that they kind of got their just comeuppance. They weren't busted down to being a regular guard, but they were busted down from supervisor back to their old position. How should I feel about that? I'm not happy. I don't take joy in other people's suffering. But there is an old saying, the rotten fruit will fall of its own accord. But then that saying can be countered with the fact, all fruit will rot if left on the vine. I don't know. That's the world we live in. This is my reflection. Thank you for sharing this moment with me. I'm Richard.
Oogog, Urganog. Daniel Ducky say YouTube gods need long outro so I can tell you comment, like, and subscribe so that this channel can pull trash out of ocean by buying matrices from For Ocean. Also, links to new video now appear. Comment, like, and subscribe, or be cursed by Ugatha. Danger Ducky approves.